Once more for our Inside the Race panel with our partners at Politico. And from Politico, let's welcome back White House reporter and co-author of the West Wing Playbook, Eli Stokols. From Scripps News, we have national political correspondent Alex Miller and political analyst Steve Schmidt. All welcome. Alex, got to start with you because you've been in the court almost every single day. You're up in New York. You've seen the witnesses, former President Trump. What's your latest read? And will we get a major lengthy defense here? Or could the defense wrap up early this coming week and the jury have a verdict before Memorial Day weekend?
You know, it seems like the judge is trying to push this to the end with the way that he was trying to configure the schedule as late as Thursday afternoon, trying to move some things around, trying to get some jurors to come in on other days. It seems like they want to wrap this up. And Trump's team seems like they do, too. They told the judge on Thursday that if they do have witnesses beyond the one that we know about, that they will all be wrapped up on Monday. So Monday is going to be a rapid-fire day. They have still the cross-examination of Michael Cohen that's still not done yet. They still have redirect, re-cross-examination. The prosecution has to tie their case up in a bow before handing it over to the defense. We already know that they are going to have at least one expert witness, the former FEC chair Brad Smith, but what he can talk about has been narrowed quite significantly. The judge made a decision before the trial, and as late as Thursday afternoon, he is upholding his decision to keep it pretty narrow of what he can talk about, and we still don't know if there's going to be anybody else and if Donald Trump is going to take the stand. He has said over and over again that he is going to do so, but when push comes to shove, there's a real big question mark about whether that's really a good idea. And if he doesn't, is there anyone else that they think could actually help their case?
Eli, Mr. Trump has seen all sorts of surrogates travel to New York to support him. Feels a bit like a loyalty test, doesn't it? What has surprised you most about what we've seen unfold in Lower Manhattan?
Not much, honestly, Joe, because you're right. This is another loyalty test, and we've seen those with Donald Trump for years now. After the gag order was sort of tightened around him, and he was maybe felt constrained in speech, you know, you started to see people in the Republican universe starting to take the train up there, to show up at the courthouse, to deliver speeches, to stand behind him. That is sort of what Donald Trump has always required of people who want his backing, is that they show up for him, that they stand there and make a big show of their support for him. And, you know, he has always fought these legal problems in the political realm, in the public relations realm. And so he is trying to show strength, and he is trying to demonstrate that he continues, not that we needed more evidence, but that he continues to have a vice grip on the Republican Party, at least in terms of elected officials and people who want to maintain their roles in elected office in Donald Trump's Republican Party. And so you have a lot of folks up there, you know, potential VP wannabes, the Speaker of the House. I mean, we saw Mike Johnson really wrap himself in Trump's embrace before he even brought the Ukraine aid package to the floor, because he knew he needed that to head off a possible rebellion by Marjorie Taylor Greene. So this is a guy who knows that Trump is the power center. He's going up there to show his support, and you have a lot of other people, J.D. Vance, Doug Burgum, people who are eager for Trump to pick them as his running mate. A lot of them have been up there, too. Don't think we've seen Tim Scott yet, but wouldn't rule that out in the coming days. And I just think this is kind of what we generally see in terms of Republican politics now. Steve knows this as well as anyone. This is a cult of personality now, and Donald Trump continues to be the center of it, and this is sort of the price of the ticket for other people who want to maintain their place in Trump's Republican Party.
Steve, the great Eli Stokols brought you up, so let's bring you in the conversation. I want to give you two scenarios, Steve. Scenario one is Trump is found guilty. Scenario two is Trump is found not guilty. What's the impact?
I think the impact, if you're asking me from a criminal justice perspective, is immense. One would be that he's walking out of the court, and the other is that he may be incarcerated. From a political perspective, I'm not sure that there's any difference. During the first week of the trial, for the first couple of days, I thought it had a diminishing effect, but that wore off. And so what Eli is describing is this scene where the senior leadership of the Republican Party, some of the most senior elected officials in the country, man second in line to the president, are making this effort to go sit behind Trump where the most tawdry stuff imaginable is being talked about. Mike Johnson in particular, everything that he is on the record that he has said about his faith, the importance, Christianity. And what this really is a loyalty test and a preface to the great crisis we know that is coming. And that crisis is that if Trump wins the election, he wins. But if he loses the election, it was stolen. And all of the same people who are sitting behind him in the trial are all the same people who, no matter what the facts of the matter are, just like in 20, will say in 2024 that the election was stolen. Politically, the trials have benefited Trump. He's in a strongest position today that he has ever been in on this day during the course of his 3 presidential races, and he's doing it as a criminal. He's doing it as a criminal defendant.
Yeah, Alex, want to go to you. If there is a guilty verdict, punishment here, walk us through what a sentencing phase would look like, how that would impact the campaign, let's say, come the fall.
Well, look, the judge has pretty wide discretion over what he can do when it comes to sentencing. He could be facing roughly about a decade in prison. All of these charges carry prison time if the judge decides to do that. But in New York, they can really do a couple of things. They can do probation, they could do a fine, they could do a mix of prison time. So legal experts don't really believe that if he sees any prison time, that it will be very much. They also consider things like if this is a nonviolent offense, which it's not. He has no criminal history at this point. And so those things will be taken into consideration. The one question mark here is how much does the gag order have an impact? Because he's got 10 gag order charges, if you want to call them, against him. The judge has found that he's violated the gag order at least 10 times, and it took him a pretty long time to start to abide by it. And the judge in court, whenever he's talked about this, he's been incredibly frustrated with the predicament that he's been put in. And so that could factor into how he decides to sentence the former president. Now, obviously, he will almost certainly appeal any conviction that he does receive if he does receive one. So he should be able to be back out on the campaign trail. But there is a lot of discretion here for the judge.
Eli, real quick, want to give you the last question, and you cover so much of the West Wing and the White House, but Hunter Biden's trial is set to start in a few days. How is that going to impact President Biden from an emotional level?
Well, I think that's where it does impact him, is that, he said the Justice Department is separate, it's independent, he's not going to weigh in. But this is something that people close to the president will acknowledge has taken an emotional toll on him. He does not want to see his son dragged through this. He's worried about what may come of it. And so I think, it's just another thing that is out there that is going on right now that is something of a distraction. And we know that the president will be paying attention to it and will be emotionally affected by it until it's wrapped up.
Real enjoyed the conversation. Alex, Eli, Steve, thank you for your insight and sharing, opening your notebooks up, if you will, and your years of political expertise with our viewers. Thanks so much. Coming up.